Good morning and welcome to our morning meditation. I hope you had a wonderful weekend and are having a great day so far. I want to just thank you for being here and also to remind you that to invite anyone who you feel would be interested in these morning meditations to join us every morning, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Mountain Time, 9 a.m. Pacific, and I don't know, you can figure out the rest. I get so confused with all of that. But anyway, today, we'll be focusing on finding your strength. So we'll invite you to just settle in as we start with these words from Ralph Waldo Emerson. From Circles. The life of a man is a self-evolving circle, which from a ringing imperceptibility, small, rushes on all sides, outwards to new and larger circles, and that without end. The extent to which this generation of circles, wheel without wheel, will go, depends on the force or truth of the individual soul. For it is the inert effort of each thought, having formed itself into a circular wave of circumstance. As, for instance, an empire rules from an art, a local usage. It bursts over the boundary on all sides. It expands another orbit on the great deep, which also runs into the high wave, with attempt again to stop and to bind. But the heart refuses to be imprisoned. In its finest and narrowest pulses, it already tends outward with a vast force, and to immense and innumerable expansions. Every ultimate fact is only the first of a new series. Every general law, only a particular fact in some more general law, presently to disclose itself. There is no outside, no enclosing wall, no circumference to us. In many traditions, it is believed that if you speak out loud your wish of goodwill or prayer, that it gives it power. Therefore, I offer up today people in our lives who give us strength, those who have inspired us, those who build us up and avoid in any way tearing us down, those who give us inspiration and hope and the drive and the will to move forward in life. I offer all of them up, and I also offer them up so that way we can also return the favor and inspire them and offer them our strength. As we go forward, I invite you to speak peace and love into the world by speaking of those you hold in your heart as we send positive energy out into the universe. Please speak simply the name of the person you are wishing to hold in your intention at this time, someone who gives you strength or you would like to offer strength to, as we send goodwill out of the world. Please state their name out loud in the space you're in, or enter their name in the comments below, and we'll gather them in with all of our intentions as a collective body today. We speak of that which we carry in our hearts as a sign that we care for the interdependent world around us. I now bind not only that which has been named out loud, but also that which has been held in our hearts. I bind all of this with the love and strength of this community. Now, I invite you to readjust your body. If you're able to, take a moment now to turn your chair or position yourself to face a window or other light source. Find a comfortable position to sit in or lay in, and be as physically open as you possibly can at this time. Let's take a moment to stretch out our bodies. So uncross your arms and your legs. Reach above your head and stretch if you're able. Just stretch your body out. Let your arms stretch, and then let's drop them down to our sides. Let's just take a moment to stretch out our arms. Let's take a nice deep breath in, just a single breath, and just expand our chest and our abdomen as we breathe in. Move your neck from side to side. If you're able to, just raise your legs and your feet and maybe extend your toes and roll your ankles. Feel your calf muscles tighten up a little bit as you do this. For today's meditation, our source of reflection is upon the Ascended Master's Oracle card. Focus upon your strength, and it's Apollo is the deity that we'll be looking at today. Most of us think of Apollo as the Greek god of war, but Apollo is actually the Greek god of sun and light, music and poetry, healing and plagues, prophecy and knowledge, order and beauty, archery and agriculture. That's a mouthful. He's also the son of Zeus and the twin brother of Artemis. He's embodiment of the Hellenic ideal of Kallikragothia, which is harmony, reason, and moderation personified. He's a perfect blend of the physical superiority and moral virtue. Apollo is a powerful deity who can bring out the sunshine in your life, literally and figuratively. He's often seen in Greek literature as much as Zeus himself. Apollo is the only major god who appears with the same name in both Greek and Roman mythology. And we can look to Apollo to gain physical, emotional, and intellectual strength. Apollo reminds us to focus on our strengths and not count or look at any perceived weaknesses. Our strength can include a loving heart and pure intentions, our people skills, our hobbies, things that we love and enjoy, something you excel in. And even if your talents still need a little polishing, we are encouraged by Apollo to see them as strengths and assets. The more you bless and appreciate your strengths and assets, the stronger and the deeper they grow. If you focus on your weaknesses or what we perceive as weaknesses, then the stronger they will grow. So as we reflect and get our inspiration today from this oracle card in the idea, the concept of the deity of Apollo, I remind you to view this and to view yourself with compassion and love. Anytime you're thinking poorly of yourself or about yourself, to shift that, if you can, to look at a strength that you hold, something that inspires and builds hope and confidence in your life. Let's begin by breathing together. As we begin by breathing together, let's take in a few deep breaths and prepare ourselves in body and mind. So, as I always invite you, take a deep breath in, hold it for about 2 seconds, and then exhale through your mouth. So, we'll take our first deep breath in. Exhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more, nice and deep. And exhale. As we begin our meditation time today, our time will be a little less time in your mind, but more about how do we go forward in the week with a focus on a strength in your life. I invite you to reflect on something, no matter how big or small, but something you have accomplished. Maybe it was writing a novel or a short story. Maybe it was something just as simple and everyday as cooking just a simple meal for your family. Maybe it's developing a piece of art or an exercise routine. Maybe it's focusing or working on how you can help somebody else become stronger or healthier. And I invite you to this week look at how you celebrate. Do you keep them to yourself and hold them closely? Do you meditate? Do you reflect? Do you take time to just sit with your strengths and celebrate them? Do you document your strengths? Do you journal? Do you reflect on pieces of art or things that you've created? Right now, lots of people are taking pictures of the meals that they create. And those can be real strengths and positive, and they post them on social media. And it's let the haters hate. But if that's something that brings you joy and strength in your life, enjoy it. How do you choose to engage in your meditation processes or your strengths that you offer the world? How do you engage them more often? So those are the things that I'm going to ask you to reflect on today and this week. What do you reflect on? So, but I'm also going to ask you to reflect on what do you do when you get discouraged? And I don't want you to spend a bunch of time on this because, as I said earlier, when you focus on your weaknesses or you focus on how you're discouraged, it feeds that. And that's not what we want to do. But when you are discouraged, do you walk away and abandon something? Do you allow yourself to be distracted, or do you just set it aside? Now, that can also, and I want to encourage you to look at that as a strength, right? If you do it in the short term, setting yourself and setting good, healthy boundaries and priorities when you're frustrated or struggling, that can be a strength. But how do we avoid doing that in the long term? How do we build avoiding in the long term? So how do we turn our short-term setting things aside into a strength by not making them a long-term concern or struggle? But enough of that now. Again, I'm going to ask you, how do you strengthen yourself to get motivated or to get re-energized? How do you strengthen yourself to be re-inspired? Those are the things that we want to focus on today. And this week, I ask you to focus on your strengths and your talents and your goals, but not necessarily to focus on them in a way that places them in a space where you're looking at the actual item. But how do you focus on developing those things, right? How do you make yourself or give yourself time and space and energy to find that inner strength? So, how do you engage these things in your life? How do you promote the positive in your life? And what brings these strengths out, and how do you feed them? So, some things that you can do this week. Again, this is not about the actual goal, but how do you set up for building that strength or goal? But set up a strength board, set up a goal board, a wish board, something that you can work towards. You know, put up affirmations on that board, reminding yourself that you are good and you are strong and you do things well in these areas. Take time to maybe break down, looking at your week and breaking it down and saying, hey, you know what? I want to cook some more this week, or I want to plant something. And it isn't just jumping into it, but also looking at how do you build that into your life, right? So break it down into steps. Also, think and plan with the goal in mind. For some people, that's a great way. I've done it in the past. I know that um, I appreciate these things and I know that I can do it. So develop that goal. I want to develop this goal and this strength that I have. I already know that I'm a good cook. I already know that. I keep going back to food for some reason, but indulge me. Maybe I'm hungry. But I'm a good cook, or I'm a good painter, or I am a great listener, or I do better and stronger at those things. So the last thing I will remind you to do this week is to set up some type of a mantra. Set up a saying or a catchphrase that works for you. I am strong. I am good. I can achieve. I celebrate. And you can add a dot, dot, dot on any of those. So just repeat those things. Repeat them to yourself. We have those motivational posters that came out in the 80s that everybody now kind of makes, a little bit of fun of, but, the achievement and what that means and a nice little quote. But, when you find those things that are important to you, and those quotes and those things mean a lot to you, they motivate you. And so I invite you to look for those things, those people, those spaces that invite you to be a stronger, healthier, more wonderfully creative, exciting person in your life. And may we say together, blessed be. May we hold in our hearts silence as a gift to our community and a gift to ourselves. As we share these next few moments of silence, Focus on your strength this week. Look at what makes you a stronger, better, more positive person in your life. And invite those things into your life as we go forward. I also want to remind you. Good morning and welcome to our morning meditation. I hope you had a wonderful weekend and are having a great day so far. I want to just thank you for being here and also to remind you that to invite anyone who you feel would be interested in these morning meditations to join us.